noticed there's no children, so that's fine. This is my first ever time performing, so I do have notes in my pocket, and I am going to have to use them. I tried to memorise it, it didn't work. My name's Adam. I recently turned 30. I'm unemployed. I can't drive. And I've started suffering from outbreaks of cold sores. Or to give it its more scientific name, facial herpes. On the plus side, ladies, I am single. Now, this country's in a bit of a recession at the moment, and I think I've worked out the reason. Being unemployed, okay? You give an unemployed man the internet, and he may have the best intentions in the world to find himself a job. Within 5 minutes of logging on, he will be having a wank. And you know, we lose our innocence so much earlier now. I realised this when my 14-year-old nephew had to explain to me the meaning of teabagging. If you don't know that, please ask someone else, because it will help later. I don't mean I'm going to attack anyone, just bear with me here. But, you know, when I was a kid, we didn't have things like the internet. We had to just do with adverts. You know, adverts would say, don't take sweets from strangers. Don't get in a stranger's car. Now, I always thought this was because he was going to take you somewhere and drop you off somewhere really difficult to get home from. But, you know, it makes you lazy too. I mean, why bother going to work when you can run a farm or manage an aquarium on Facebook? Sorry. This got me thinking, you know, like, I mean, it really does make people on the internet lazy. We don't do anything anymore. I mean, I won't deny that people have found some very active hobbies through it, like stalking and grooming. And as a child of the 80s, you know, I grew up when sort of gay people were trying to find rights, you know. And fair enough, I have nothing against gays. Tried it once, it wasn't for me. But what worries me is now, are paedophiles going to get the same voice that gays did? Are you going to hear women saying, oh, I wish I had a paedophile as my best friend? TV programmes, Paedophile Eye for the non-child fancying guy. But being unemployed, I've put on a lot of weight recently. You might not be able to see it from there. But trust me, I can now do the truffle shuffle. I'm not going to subject anyone to that now. However, I am desperate for cash. So if anyone wants to see me afterwards. But I looked into a few diet plans. I looked into the Atkins, I thought that was great. All my favourite foods. But there's no way the DSS is going to fund a 10 rashes a day habit. And then I came across the Slim Fast diet. Now you may have seen this, it's principally 2 drinks a day and 1 meal. How can anyone not get slim doing that? However, again, I can't afford this. So I created my own. The Nesquik diet. I have a sugar rush in the morning, a sugar rush for lunch, bit of vomit in the afternoon, and a full meal in the evening. Again, that didn't work. So I took up smoking. I thought, you know, people who smoke subside their hunger. I kept eating. And now I'm addicted to cigarettes. So, trying to find my way to quit fags now. Now, I certainly know some of you in the audience know, this is not a way to get off cigarettes. Spliffs, reefers, doobies, joints, they are still cigarettes. I thought that it was a way to get off cigarettes. I was on 40 a day. It would have been more, except I had to divide my time up between eating and laughing. But you know what else doesn't help losing weight? It's those M&S adverts. You've seen them, right? They can make any sort of food sound good. This isn't just any spam. this is M&S spam. Now these adverts confuse me because that voice, it really turns me on. So I'm looking at food, and I'm feeling horny. And then I'm walking down the street and I see an attractive woman, and I'm feeling hungry. But speaking of supermarkets, I don't know if you've seen in the papers, Tesco's will now be selling Viagra. So not only can you go there to cure erectile dysfunction, but you can get double club card points too. Well, every little helps. I've been going to London a lot recently. I've been going to London because job interviews and prostitutes. I noticed something. I'm sure I'm not the only person who does this. You see an attractive woman on the train or on the tube. You sit opposite to her. You think, wow, she is incredible. And you start fantasising, don't you? You start thinking, I'm going to ask her out, I'm going to say something really witty, then we're going to start dating, then we're going to have kids, then we're going to get married. I did that the wrong way around, sorry. Then we're going to start dating, then we're going to get married, then we're going to go on a honeymoon, then we're going to have kids. And then you realise she got off 2 stops ago. But trust me, a piece of advice, do not chat up a woman on the train. Because if you and her are both riding to the last stop and she says no, that will be the most awkward train journey you ever have had. Speaking of awkward times, I had Christmas with my family a few years ago. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who's been through this. You're struggling to open the jar. A new jar, it's not been opened before. You're struggling, you're twisting, you're turning, you're pulling, you're lifting. The lid will not come off. Now I've got my 6'3" dad one side of me, my old rig working brother the other. And my gran turns to me and goes, "Give it here." So I handed the jars to my gran. In one swift motion, she pulls the lid off. Hands it back to me. Now this is embarrassing enough as it is. But then she does the one thing that makes that situation worse. She goes, "Well, you loosened it for me." I stopped having Christmas with my family after that. However, my gran died this year, so I might go back. Yeah, I think I've mentioned a few times, I'm unemployed at the moment. Now, you might want to know how this happened and how I quit work. Well, I thought I'd come up with the best excuse to get off work ever. You know, I've been through it all. Stomach aches, headaches, diarrhoea, all of it. How could I get another day off work? Oh yeah, I came up with the most unquestionable way to get a day off work. Hello? Oh, it's Adam. Right, Adam, what is it? I've got AIDS. Well, I got plenty of time off work for that. As much as I wanted. The difficulty was, 6 months later I had to leave my job and move to a new town. And I couldn't date anyone at work again. But, now I don't know if you've seen this, these drink aware adverts on the TV at the moment, where there's this, some guy passed out, surrounded in vomit, lying on a pub floor. I mean, if you are going to pass out somewhere, try and do it somewhere classy. Perhaps Harvester. But I was watching these adverts and thought, we've all been there, we've all had a few too many, passed out somewhere random. That doesn't put me off drinking. Do you know what would really put me off drinking? Is if the advert ran pretty much the same, but just at the end, the toilet door opens. And in walks some big, hairy bloke. And he unzips his flies. And then just teabags the guy on the floor. I would not drink again. Thank you very much.